Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. My name is Rebecca Escott and today I'm going to show you a super fun Valentine tumbler using foil and this new beautiful glitter which is called Baby Elevated from AB Designs. But first we're going to spray paint the tumbler and I'm actually just going to use this rustic pink and it's not going to change the color of my glitter that much. So once you have your tumbler completely spray painted, we're going to go straight in with the glitter. So normally I would not use spray paint as my adhesive for all chunky glitter, but since this is a medium cut mix, I wanted to give it a shot. As you'll see through the progression of this video, it worked perfectly. Let me know down in the comments, which adhesive do you prefer to use for applying your glitters? So once you've applied all the glitter and not forgetting the bottom, make sure you tap off any excess glitter. Then we're going to make sure that we seal this really well before moving into this coat of epoxy. For this coat of epoxy, I am going to be using Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. So once this coat was completely cured, I did go back in off camera and applied another coat of epoxy before moving on to the next step. So once your coats of epoxy have finally cured, you want to make sure you sand down your tumbler. Since this is going to be a peekaboo and I'm going to apply foil over that, I didn't have to be as precise because through the foil you're not going to see it anyways. But typically when you're doing a spray paint peekaboo, you really want to make sure that you have it sanded down really well as the spray paint will pick up every little mistake. So the design that I'm actually working with is all from a Cricut design space. It's a Be My Valentine, and I just split the things apart and used what I wanted to for this project today and did offsets on the hearts, and that's what we're going to use for our peekaboo. So as with any decals, just make sure you press from the center out. This way you can prevent any wrinkles and air pockets. And because I'm going to spray paint this, if there's any air pockets, I have no intent to pop those. I would not want the spray paint to seep underneath that vinyl. So once we have all of our vinyl in place, we're going to use our hot glue gun to mark all the vinyl sections so that I can see them when I go to weed after I've applied all the foil. So once you have all of your vinyl marked, make sure you go back through and get all those webby, stringy bits off the tumbler before you spray paint. So once I had the entire cup cleaned up, we were ready to go ahead and spray paint the tumbler. Now because I'm going to be using a red and pink, I decided to go ahead and spray paint this cup Prickly Pear. I will say I've done this foil technique a couple of times in the past. I will link those videos down for you below, but I will say using the actual square sheets did work better for this particular project because I was doing the entire tumbler versus just a smaller section. Also, if you use as much Tack-It as I did, make sure you give this a chance to dry because at first it really became a hot mess. But it all worked out in the end and that's all that matters. But yeah, it definitely did not take this much Tack-It glue. I don't know what I was thinking, but note to self, less is more. Once you've thinned out all of this glue, we're now ready to go ahead and move into the foil. Again, with this much glue, I really should have given it a chance to dry because it really just wanted to stick to my gloves. I had to change them, I don't know how many times. But like I said, as we progress through this clip, you'll see that everything just works out perfectly fine. You definitely do not want to rub this foil on, you want to pat it on. At this point, I'm now using the sheets. I'm completely out of the red, which was fine because at the end of the day, I really loved how I just had that tint of red throughout the entire design. So now that my tumbler's dry, you'll notice I've already started doing some of the weeding. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that thankfully I did use that hot glue gun because I was not able to really lock in where my decals were. But once I found the bubble from the hot glue, I was able to press gently around the area, which then gave me the outline. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but in person it was much easier. I really hope you are enjoying this video, and if so, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials coming soon. Also, don't forget to click the bell to get notifications for every time I launch a new video. Now that I have the entire tumbler weeded out, I'm going back through and filling in some of the spots that I can see that were missed. And don't worry, no, I'm not using any more glue. The foil just appears to be sticking to itself, and I'm trying to be very, very careful to not get it into my already weeded sections. You want to continue to press down just so that it starts to blend in with the rest of the original pieces that were placed. Once I made sure everything was completely filled in and I didn't have any missing sections, I definitely sealed this tumbler and I treated it as if I was working with glitter. Once your seal is completely dry, you're ready to go in for another coat of epoxy. This next coat of epoxy, I am going to be using again Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. So once your tumbler is cured, go ahead and make sure before placing that holographic vinyl around your hearts that you don't have any sharp, pointy bits. If you do, go ahead and gently sand that down, wipe it up with alcohol before applying your vinyl. Once you have all of your decals in place, it's really not necessary to seal. However, if you feel far more comfortable, I would highly recommend using the Quick Coat Urethane Sealer from Counterculture DIY. It will help seal in all your vinyl to prevent any lifts when you get ready to epoxy. For this coat of epoxy, I am again going to be using the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. This tumbler only took one more final coat of epoxy, in which I used the Artist Resin from Counterculture DIY for its final coat. I want to thank you so much for watching, and be sure to find me on TikTok under Rebecca Escott, Facebook at Everything Tumbler Tutorials for continued learning. Remember, all links will be down in the description for you below. Also, drop me a comment and let me know, what do you think of an entire tumbler with foil? Let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see.